The tranquil streets of an upscale neighborhood, typically marked by manicured lawns and towering trees, were thrust into chaos on that fateful morning. Outside Elon Musk's residence, a media frenzy had taken root, with reporters and camera crews encamped, eagerly awaiting his next move amid a heated political clash. The air buzzed with anticipation as the tech mogul found himself entangled in a public feud with President Trump, a dispute that had spiraled from disagreements over renewable energy subsidies into a barrage of personal jabs across social media and press conferences. News outlets dissected every word, predicting dire repercussions for both Musk's business empire and the president's agenda. Inside his home, Musk sought a semblance of normalcy, poring over production reports for a new Tesla model while sipping his morning coffee, the silence broken only by the absence of his children, who were with their mother, a fortunate escape from the relentless media glare. Suddenly, the calm shattered. Shouts pierced the air from outside, a frantic voice yelling, "Fire!" Musk leapt to his feet, rushing to the window where a thick plume of black smoke rose from several houses down the street. Without a second thought, he bolted outside, oblivious to the watching eyes of the press. As he sprinted toward the commotion, the source became clear: a Tesla Model S, one of his company's electric vehicles, was engulfed in flames at the edge of a driveway. A small crowd of neighbors stood at a safe distance, their faces etched with concern. Amid them stood Margaret Chen, an 82-year-old retired teacher, her slight figure dwarfed by the dramatic scene behind her. Clad in a nightgown and slippers, with a light blue cardigan draped over her shoulders, she gazed at her burning car, her expression a mix of shock and despair. Known in the community for her lush garden and warm demeanor, Margaret had painstakingly saved for months to purchase this electric vehicle, a dream realized through frugal sacrifices. As the first fire truck screeched onto the scene, sirens wailing, Musk approached her. Gently placing a hand on her shoulder, he asked, "Margaret, are you all right? Were you in the car when this happened?" She turned to him, her eyes wide with fear. "Elon, oh my goodness. No, thank heavens I wasn't inside. I just plugged it in to charge and went back to make tea. Then I heard an explosion and saw smoke pouring from underneath. My hands were trembling as I dialed 911, it all happened so fast." Firefighters sprang into action, unfurling hoses and shouting instructions, while neighbors retreated at their command. But Musk noticed something else: media vans with station logos pulled up, and reporters, their faces a blend of worry and excitement, began filming the blazing Tesla. One spotted Musk with Margaret and advanced, microphone outstretched. "Mrs. Chen," he called, "your Tesla is on fire. Any comments on the safety of these cars?" Another joined in, "Mr. Musk, is this the quality control Americans can expect from Tesla? Is it tied to your recent spat with the president over electric vehicle standards?" Margaret trembled beside him, overwhelmed by the loss of her car and the sudden intrusion of cameras. Sensing her distress, Musk stepped forward, shielding her from the encroaching journalists. "Not now," he said firmly. "This is a difficult moment for my neighbor, and she deserves privacy and respect." He turned to her softly, "Let's step away to somewhere quiet while they handle this. Would you like to come to my place for a cup of tea?" Relief washed over her face. "That would be so kind of you, Elon. Thank you." With a protective arm around her shoulders, he guided her away from the chaos, brushing off a persistent reporter with a resolute, "This isn't the time." The short walk to his home left Margaret visibly shaken. Inside, Musk helped her into a comfortable kitchen chair and fetched a soft blanket to replace her flimsy cardigan. "I'll make you some tea," he offered, filling a kettle and setting it on the stove. "Do you take milk and sugar?" "Just a touch of milk, thank you," she replied, pulling the blanket close. "I'm so sorry for all this trouble, Elon. Especially with the president and those journalists hounding your every step. And now my car has stirred up even more fuss." Musk shook his head as he prepared the tea. "Margaret, please don't apologize. I'm just glad you're unharmed. Cars can be replaced, people can't." He set a steaming cup before her and sat across the table. "I didn't know you drove a Tesla." How long have you had it? A faint smile crossed her face, briefly easing her worry. Nearly 5 years, I was one of your first local customers. My late husband Robert always encouraged embracing new technology, not fearing it. After he passed 6 years ago, buying an electric car felt like honoring his forward-thinking spirit. She sipped her tea before continuing. Plus, I've cared about the environment long before it was trendy. I taught science to 5th graders for over 40 years, always telling them we borrow this earth from our grandchildren. I wanted to leave it better for them. Musk listened intently as she recounted months of saving for the down payment, cutting other expenses to afford what she called her contribution to the future. She spoke proudly of explaining to friends at the senior center that no, she never needed to refuel, and yes, it had all the power she needed for her cautious driving. That car gave me confidence, she admitted, warming her hands on the cup. After Robert's death, many friends stopped driving, relying on others. But having a reliable, modern car let me stay independent, visiting my grandchildren across town, volunteering at the library, seeing my doctor without burdening my busy children. The conversation shifted from the weighty political debates and corporate strategies that had dominated Musk's recent days to this personal story. Here was a woman who chose his product not for status or politics, but as a practical expression of her values and a means to maintain independence in her later years. "Tell me more about your teaching career," he encouraged, genuinely curious. Her eyes lit up. "Oh, I loved every minute. I taught at Oak Ridge Elementary for 42 years, can you imagine? Toward the end, I had children of my former students in my class. I made science fun and accessible, building volcanoes, simple electric circuits, growing plants to study photosynthesis, raising butterflies from caterpillars." She smiled at the memories. "I always told my students that understanding how our world works is the first step to protecting it. I tried to instill wonder for nature and human innovation. That's why I was so drawn to Tesla, it embodies that blend of ingenuity and environmental responsibility." Their talk was interrupted by a knock. Musk excused himself and found neighbor David Miller at the door. "The fire's out," David reported. "Firefighters say the damage was limited to the car, Margaret's house is fine. They've asked no one to touch it pending investigation. Also, about 10 journalists are at the scene, interviewing anyone willing to talk." Musk thanked him and returned to share the news. "Your house is safe," he told her. "But it might be best to stay here a bit longer until the media moves on. Thank you, Elon. I don't know what I'd have done without your help. I was so overwhelmed with the firefighters, and then all those cameras." "It's no trouble," he replied sincerely. "I'm glad for the company. It's been a tense week with the political spat, and it's nice to focus on something ordinary." The next morning, Musk prepared a simple breakfast of scrambled eggs and toast. Margaret, touched by the gesture, insisted on helping, setting the table and pouring orange juice as he cooked. They continued chatting, with her sharing tales of the neighborhood's history and its evolution over her 30 years there. By midday, the fire trucks departed, but another neighbor noted that several TV vans lingered near Margaret's home, reporters broadcasting live. Online, headlines blazed: "Tesla fire erupts in Elon Musk's neighborhood amid political row and safety concerns." Musk checked his phone, flooded with messages from Tesla's PR team, legal department, and executives worried about the incident's fallout. Friends texted to check on him after seeing the news. But not one inquired about Margaret or her well-being. The focus was solely on Tesla's stock, safety reputation, and Musk's public image during his presidential feud. Watching Margaret assist with lunch sandwiches, Musk made a choice. Corporate responses, media management, and political fallout could wait. What mattered now was ensuring his neighbor felt safe and supported. "Margaret," he said as they sat to eat, "I want you to know Tesla will replace your car. No questions, no complications." She looked up, startled. "Oh, Elon, that's generous, but I can't accept a gift. I have insurance, though I'm unsure how much it'll cover given the car's age." "It's not a gift," he clarified, respecting her pride. You were an early believer in what we're trying to achieve. If there was a fault, it's our responsibility, not yours. Even if it was an accident, I want you to have a safe, reliable car to maintain your independence. She pondered his words. I appreciate it more than I can say, but I need to keep making payments, as I did before. I chose Tesla for its mission, not special treatment. He nodded. We'll find a fair solution. The priority is getting you a replacement soon to keep your life uninterrupted. That afternoon, updates trickled in. Fire officials preliminarily linked the blaze to the battery compartment, though the cause required further investigation. Tesla's engineering team analyzed the car's pre-fire data. Media coverage intensified, with some commentators questioning if Musk's cost-cutting amid political battles compromised safety. Throughout, Musk focused on Margaret's comfort, helping her call her children to confirm her safety, contacting her insurer to start a claim, and arranging a stay with her daughter if media presence made returning home awkward. By evening, most journalists dispersed, chasing new stories. Musk offered to escort her home to pack. As they walked slowly, she leaning on his arm, neighbors emerged to check on her and offer aid. Everyone's so kind, she said, moved by the community's care. This was terrifying, but it's reminded me how lucky I am to live among such thoughtful people. At her driveway, the charred remains of her once elegant Tesla were cordoned off with yellow tape. She paused, gazing sadly. That car meant so much: independence, forward thinking, my small environmental contribution. It might seem silly to get so attached to a vehicle. It's not silly, Musk assured her. Our possessions can reflect our values and choices. Your car was a statement of the world you want for your grandchildren. We'll ensure you get another to serve that purpose. Inside, as she packed, Musk waited in the living room, noticing photos, a young Margaret with her class, with her late husband Robert, surrounded by children and grandchildren. Certificates honored her teaching and community service, alongside handmade cards from former students. He realized this was a life well lived, dedicated to service, purpose, and love, now intersecting with his, reminding him of what truly matters beyond headlines and political tensions. When Margaret's daughter arrived, Musk promised to oversee the car replacement and follow up the next day. She thanked him again, and he watched them drive off, feeling a mix of concern for her, frustration over the car, and a strange peace from helping a neighbor in need. The next morning, his phone rang early. It was Sarah Johnson, Tesla's PR head, proposing a media strategy. We've drafted a statement highlighting our excellent safety record and noting internal combustion engines catch fire more often than our EVs, she explained. We have data showing the model in question had multiple safety updates since release. We should preempt this story before it fuels your presidential feud. Musk listened patiently. Sarah, I appreciate the thoroughness, but I want a different approach. First, I want our engineers to pinpoint what happened, not to protect our image, but to ensure it doesn't happen to someone else. Second, I don't want this dragged into the political fray. It's irrelevant and, more importantly, about a real person, not a PR issue. But Elon, Sarah countered, the media's already making that link. We need to control the narrative. No, he interrupted firmly, we need to care for our customer. Margaret Chen is an 82-year-old retired teacher who saved for months to buy our car because she believes in sustainability and independence. She's not a political pawn or a PR problem, she's a person who trusted us and deserves our respect and support. After a brief silence, Sarah asked, I understand. What do you want us to do? I promised her a replacement and want it expedited. I also want our team to assist with any insurance hurdles. For the media, we'll issue a simple statement acknowledging the incident, thanking Providence no one was hurt, and committing to a thorough investigation. No diversions, no comparative fire stats, and absolutely no political ties, just genuine care for our customer and a pledge to find the truth. Reflecting at the kitchen table, Musk contrasted the company's image-focused response with his instinct to shield Margaret. It struck him how easily the institution he built could lose sight of the human element amid managing perception and mitigating risks. Days later, he personally delivered a new Tesla Model S to Margaret's daughter's home. This latest model boasted enhanced safety features and greater range. He ensured all paperwork respected her wish to continue payments, not accept a gift. Margaret greeted him, calmer than before. "Elon, it's so kind of you to bring the car yourself," she said, touched. "I wanted to ensure it's exactly as you need," he replied. "And I wanted to tell you our engineers are investigating your old car. If we find safety issues, we'll address them across our fleet." As they explored the new car's features, Margaret's daughter Sophia pulled him aside. "Thank you for how you treated my mother yesterday," she whispered. "I saw the news about your political rift with the president. A Tesla fire in your neighborhood was the last thing you needed. But you set it aside to care for her, and that means everything to our family." Embarrassed by her gratitude, Musk said, "It was the only right choice. Your mother's an incredible woman. I enjoyed getting to know her." Sophia smiled. "She hasn't stopped talking about your conversation. Your cooking her breakfast has made her the talk of the senior center. But your kindness in this ordeal moved her most." Satisfied Margaret was content and her questions answered, Musk prepared to leave. She walked him to his car. "I've thought about our talk, my teaching, my environmental care. Despite my car's fate, I still believe in what you're doing with Tesla and your companies. The path to progress isn't always smooth, but the direction matters." Her gaze held the wisdom of 8 decades. "As for the political feud in the news, remember those debates come and go, but your character and how you treat others in tough times, that's what people will remember." Musk nodded, struck by her simplicity. "That's wise advice, Margaret. Thank you. It's what happens when you chat with old teachers," she quipped with a twinkle. "We can't help sharing life lessons, it's in our nature." Driving away, Musk reflected on the unexpected turn of the past 2 days. What could have been a PR disaster or political complication instead became a reminder of what matters: treating people with kindness and dignity, owning responsibility without excuses, and focusing on solutions over perception. Weeks later, the Tesla fire story faded from news cycles, overshadowed by other political dramas. The investigation confirmed a rare battery design flaw, prompting Tesla to offer free checks and upgrades for all cars of that model year. Yet, the experience reshaped Musk's outlook. His feud with the president persisted, but with a subtler tone, less personal attacks, more focus on issues and potential common ground. In an interview about the fire, Musk surprised reporters by avoiding corporate spin or political posturing. He briefly outlined the technical findings and actions taken, then praised the affected customer as a dedicated educator choosing his car for a better future. Commentators noted his more measured, human-centered approach, debating if it was a new strategy or a genuine shift. The truth, which Musk kept private, was that his brief but meaningful encounter with Margaret Chen rekindled a focus on the real people behind political debates, corporate decisions, and public disputes. A month later, working late in his home office, Musk answered a doorbell to find Margaret with a small gift. "Margaret, what a surprise." "Come in," he welcomed. "I won't stay long," she said, stepping inside. "I know you're busy, but I wanted to give you this personally." She handed him a package. "Just a small thank you for your kindness last month." Inside was a framed photo of Margaret standing proudly by her new Tesla, her posture upright despite her age, with elegant handwriting on the mat, "With gratitude for your kindness and honesty in a difficult time, Margaret Chen. I thought you'd like a reminder," she explained, "of the positive impact you had on an ordinary person in extraordinary circumstances. Sometimes, amid world-changing ideas and high-level disputes, it's good to remember your work touches individual lives." Deeply moved, Musk thanked her. "I'll keep this on my desk," he promised, as a reminder of what matters. After she left, he placed the frame where he'd see it daily. In the weeks and months that followed, as his public feud with the president evolved and eventually resolved, he often found his eyes drawn to this simple memento. Beyond headlines, political tensions, corporate strategies, and stock values, it represented real lives like Margaret Chen's, whose well-being and dignity deserved to anchor every decision and public discussion. The tale of the burning Tesla and the remarkable woman who owned it became Musk's personal compass, a quiet reminder that in times of public strife and political pressure, true character shines through how we treat those closest to us and respond to others' needs with kindness, not calculation. The incident never gained widespread fame beyond their neighborhood. No dramatic headlines highlighted Musk's personal involvement or Margaret's dignity in crisis. Yet within their community, the story spread quietly as a testament to mutual support in adversity with dignity and compassion, proving that the values we live with our neighbors often outweigh the stances we take in public debates. For Margaret, she continued driving her new Tesla proudly, occasionally chauffeuring senior center friends curious about electric vehicles. In those moments, she shared her story, not of fire or fear, but of a neighbor's kindness who set aside his own concerns to honor an elderly teacher with respect during an unexpected crisis. Thus, she imparted another vital lesson to her listeners: true character and community strength emerge not in triumph or peace, but in how we face sudden challenges and care for each other in distress, a lesson she taught fifth graders for decades and now, in retirement, witnessed in its most personal and profound form. The tranquil streets of an upscale neighborhood, typically marked by manicured lawns and towering trees, were thrust into chaos on that fateful morning. Outside Elon Musk's residence, a media frenzy had taken root, with reporters and camera crews encamped, eagerly awaiting his next move amid a heated political clash. The air buzzed with anticipation as the tech mogul found himself entangled in a public feud with President Trump, a dispute that had spiraled from disagreements over renewable energy subsidies into a barrage of personal jabs across social media and press conferences. News outlets dissected every word, predicting dire repercussions for both Musk's business empire and the president's agenda. Inside his home, Musk sought a semblance of normalcy, poring over production reports for a new Tesla model while sipping his morning coffee, the silence broken only by the absence of his children, who were with their mother, a fortunate escape from the relentless media glare. Suddenly, the calm shattered. Shouts pierced the air from outside, a frantic voice yelling, "Fire!" Musk leapt to his feet, rushing to the window where a thick plume of black smoke rose from several houses down the street. Without a second thought, he bolted outside, oblivious to the watching eyes of the press. As he sprinted toward the commotion, the source became clear: a Tesla Model S, one of his company's electric vehicles, was engulfed in flames at the edge of a driveway. A small crowd of neighbors stood at a safe distance, their faces etched with concern. Amid them stood Margaret Chen, an 82-year-old retired teacher, her slight figure dwarfed by the dramatic scene behind her. Clad in a nightgown and slippers, with a light blue cardigan draped over her shoulders, she gazed at her burning car, her expression a mix of shock and despair. Known in the community for her lush garden and warm demeanor, Margaret had painstakingly saved for months to purchase this electric vehicle, a dream realized through frugal sacrifices. As the first fire truck screeched onto the scene, sirens wailing, Musk approached her. Gently placing a hand on her shoulder, he asked, "Margaret, are you all right? Were you in the car when this happened?" She turned to him, her eyes wide with fear. "Elon, oh my goodness. No, thank heavens I wasn't inside. I just plugged it in to charge and went back to make tea. Then I heard an explosion and saw smoke pouring from underneath. My hands were trembling as I dialed 911, it all happened so fast." Firefighters sprang into action, unfurling hoses and shouting instructions, while neighbors retreated at their command. But Musk noticed something else: media vans with station logos pulled up, and reporters, their faces a blend of worry and excitement, began filming the blazing Tesla. One spotted Musk with Margaret and advanced, microphone outstretched. "Mrs. Chen," he called, "your Tesla is on fire. Any comments on the safety of these cars?" Another joined in, "Mr. Musk, is this the quality control Americans can expect from Tesla? Is it tied to your recent spat with the president over electric vehicle standards?" Margaret trembled beside him, overwhelmed by the loss of her car and the sudden intrusion of cameras. Sensing her distress, Musk stepped forward, shielding her from the encroaching journalists. "Not now," he said firmly. "This is a difficult moment for my neighbor, and she deserves privacy and respect." He turned to her softly, "Let's step away to somewhere quiet while they handle this. Would you like to come to my place for a cup of tea?" Relief washed over her face. "That would be so kind." This concludes our narrative journey. I trust you found this gripping saga of intrigue, cutting-edge innovation, and astonishing discoveries captivating. From where are you tuning in today? I'm curious to learn which corner of the globe this tale has touched. If this escapade held your interest, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for a steady stream of compelling, mind-expanding stories just like this one. Fresh material is posted frequently, ensuring you're always in the loop for the newest spellbinding adventures. Be sure to pass this video along to your loved ones and friends. It's a great way to share positivity and insight while expanding our circle of story enthusiasts. Your encouragement is invaluable. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to welcoming you back for the next tale.